Hi everyone, I hope you're all keeping well. Welcome to another Melodic Mondays. Monday evening's my favourite day of the week because I get to hang out with you guys and make some lovely ukulele music. So, of course, every other Monday we have our Can a Cappella, and then these Mondays we've got our Melodic Mondays where we look at a beautiful, beautiful melody, and sometimes we'll turn that melody into a lovely fingerstyle chord melody arrangement, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. Hi Indrani, drizzly Germany. Oh, we got the sunshine here today, so it's one day sunshine, one day rain at the moment. But hopefully it cheers up for you soon, Indrani. So tonight we're going to look at Henry Mancini's wonderful Moon River. Such a kind of memorable melody. A lot of people remember it, of course, with Audrey Hepburn from Breakfast at Tiffany's, but just a really beautiful melody in the key of C. And what I've done is I've created some scores which you can download. All my members get these for free. If you're not a member and you want to join up, just head to my website mattsteadukulele.com and you can join up for as little as £10 a month. Gives you all 10 of my courses, sequential courses, and all the other goodies. But what we've got is just the melody on its own, just to get a kind of feel for that first, and I think that's really important. Then I've tabbed out the chords with chord diagrams so you can follow them, because there's some really quite kind of cool jazz chords in this one, which is worth learning. And then finally the sheets in the back are our full chord melody version, which we'll really get to grips with later. Still smoky in Manitoba, Canada. Oh gosh, Karen, they've had if anyone doesn't know, they've had loads of forest fires in Canada, haven't you, Karen? So it's yeah, you guys have been praying for the rain. Hi Susan, hope you're doing well, New Hampshire. Fantastic. Okay, just a couple of things to tell you about that we've got coming up. The next live lesson isn't this week, but next week. And this one's going to be quite appropriate because I was just literally practicing my set for Shriekfest on Saturday. And so I thought, as festival season is upon us, we're going to do a live Q&A all about overcoming nerves and performing. So this one's a week Wednesday, so August 6th at 3:30, and it's a live Q&A, but I have prepped some really nice worksheets for you in advance with all kinds of tips and tricks, and these are all my own personal ones as well. So this is how I've kind of coped with stage fright and stuff like that. No worries, Susan, just made me giggle. That's always helpful. I'll share how I've coped with my own stage fright over the years and stuff, because I've had it terribly. And whether you're performing to Wembley or a ukulele festival or just your cat, it's all really useful tips and tricks to help you enjoy performing rather than getting anxious about it. What other things do I have to tell you about? Next month we'll be back to our normal Can a Cappella, where we'll be doing songs written by the women of pop. So we've got some really cool pop songs in this one, with songs, hi Tim, hi Rose. We've got songs from Olivia Rodrigo, who else? Chapel Roan and Sabrina Carpenter, and we've also got a classic bit of soul from Bill Withers as well. Means that I get a chance to tell my favourite joke. How do you turn a duck into a soul singer? Put it in a microwave until it's Bill Withers. Sorry, I'm here all night. Oh, talking of bad jokes, me and Shell were talking on email about the pronunciation of Henry Mancini, because I've always said Henry Mancini, but apparently in the States it's Henry Mancini, and I go by like the Italian pronunciation. So I created this handy little guide to help everyone tonight. So if you're American, you've got Henry Mancini, and if you're European, we've got Henry Mancini, because that's Craig Chi, the third one long. So just a bit of fun. And yes, it is Henry, not Harry, because that's his real name. Okay, right. All right, I'm going to shut up now and teach you how to play the song, I think. So yeah, come on, Ted, you can do it. Remember, Ted's brought up a really useful point here, that if you're attempting these chord melodies and you find them tricky, Don't worry if you can't get them straight away, because some of the concepts are really quite tricky. And what I find is as long as you pick up a couple of tips each time, that's the important thing. And have a load of fun trying it as well. That's really, really key as well. So just enjoy it, Ted, and you'll be absolutely fine. Yeah, let's have a look then. So these are the sheets. What I'll do is I'll bring up the chord melody version first, and I'll just have a little play through, just so you can hear how it goes when we turn it into chord melody. I'll probably get this wrong, so that'll make you lot feel better, hopefully. See that I go wrong sometimes as well. I might have to pause to change the sheet as well. Let me just, oh no, that way, yeah, there we go. Okay, so this is the kind of chord melody version as we go. Sorry guys, just turning the page. Isn't that lovely? It's such a beautiful tune, isn't it? I think it's just really melodious and gorgeous, and I love the way it kind of unravels, which is really beautiful. And of course, really lovely lyrics as well. So yeah. Oh, thanks, Susan. I like that. Yeah. Thanks, Indrani. Thanks for the advice, guys. That's cool. Okay, let's take a look then. What we're going to do first is just have a look. Yeah, I know what you mean, Joe. I know what you mean. I reread the book recently, which was interesting. I haven't read it in years and years and years. I forgot that it's only a kind of short little book, isn't it? So, right, let's have a look then. What we'll do first, I think, is just have a look at the melody, which is really, really beautiful. Then we'll look at those really beautiful chords, and then we'll stick the two together. Now, this one's in the key of C. Now, I haven't tabbed this out, but you might find it useful just to go over the key of C major. Most of the melody in this one comes right down. It's not just all on the A string. It comes down onto the E and C strings. So what I'd like to do is just go through the C major scale really slowly from the start. If you haven't got it written down, don't worry, just follow me. We're just going to pick our open C string, then the 2nd fret for D, open E string, 1st fret for F, open, and then the 3rd fret for G, open A, the 2nd fret for B, and the 3rd fret for C. Now we can keep going. We can hit a C here, and we can go to our next stop for D, next stop for E, next fret for F, next stop for G, next dot for A, then we've got 2 for B, and then C. I forgot to write this down tonight, but if you can always use the scale and reference sheets from Canacapilla, or if you really want a tabbed out C major scale, let me know and I'll ping one over. There's also one on the tabs and resources page on my website that you find as well. But I find it's a really good idea to think about where those notes lie, just to kind of help you kind of get dexterity in there and think about where they lie on the fretboard. Okay. Oh, I know what you mean, Indrani, about Mickey Rooney's Asian accent. Yeah, I know. It was back in the day when that kind of thing happened, wasn't it? It's like I always find the same thing with Lawrence of Arabia when people are playing Arabs, and it's just like, oh, yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Hi, Fran. Don't worry, we're just getting started now, so don't worry. So let's just have a look at this melody. Now, the key thing to know here is we're in 3/4 time. So if we ever get a note like the first one, which is a hollow note of a dot, which is a dotted minim, which means you're just going to hold it for 3 beats, all right? So the whole measure, 1, 2, 3. All right, that's a G, 3rd fret of the E string. Then we go to the A string for this high D note, followed by a C note. That's 5/3. And notice the second note's hollow, so you can think of that as quick, long. Okay, so moon, river. Okay, and remember, you can always sing the words in your head if you're not sure. You don't have to kind of follow the crotchets and quavers. As long as you know the melody, you'll be fine. Then we've got the wider than a mile bit. 2nd fret here for this 2. This is a B. Open A. And then G on the 3rd fret of the E string. Down to F and back. Okay. So if we put that whole phrase together, that will sound like this. Isn't that lovely? Really beautiful. Notice that I'm just picking with my thumb today. We're going to keep this really nice and simple, and we're pretty much going to do all of the work with our thumb today on this one, keeping it simple, like so. Notice how I'm playing roughly where the body of the uke meets the neck, where it's got a nice sweetness. Whoops. Told you teachers go wrong sometimes too, so just have a little practice of that. Then when we come to the next bit, just before the F chord, we've got an open C. That's the lowest note we can play on a normal high G uke. Then we go to this B note, 2nd fret of the A string. And then it's just the same as before, wasn't it? And this time we finish it with this low C. That's just the 2nd string down open. And then a D note. Fantastic. Let's try putting the whole first line together. We're not going to play those zeros at the end, just the whole of the rest. Come on, play along with me. Come in after 1, 2, 3. No worries, Linda. Good to have you here. Good to have you here. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Like that, okay, absolutely fine. Yep, lovely jubbly. Let's know how you're getting on, guys. Ted, is it okay to use index finger on 1st G? Let me just have a look. Yeah, actually, Ted, that's a really good idea. So Ted was just saying, is it okay to use his index finger on the 1st G, that very first note? And actually, that's a really good idea if you think about it, because, sorry, I'm just trying to move this down, because if you think about it, that allows you then to reach up for these 2 notes. And then you can just pull back to normal position after that. Generally, we try and play in position, so whichever finger falls on a fret like this. But sometimes we go into another position, like Ted's suggesting, which is actually a really good use of your fingers. And then back to normal position. Okay, that's really well spotted, Ted. Fantastic. Okay, so let's have a look at, we've got the last 2 notes of that first line, just to finish off this opening melody. So we play the middle 2 strings in reverse, basically open. So E open, low C. Then next line starting from measure 10. G, E, that's 3 off. 2 off on the next string up, that's D, C. 3 off on the next string down. 2 off again, off 3, that's E G, 3 2 off, that's C B A, 2, G note here at the 3rd fret of the E string, open A and a C. Okay. So if I put that together, you can either join in with me if you feel confident enough, or just have a listen for now, and it will sound like this. Fantastic. Let's just have a pause. Let me know how you're getting on, guys. So that's the kind of beautiful opening melody. Now, the nice thing about pieces of music, particularly pop music, but happens in classical as well, is that we get some repetition. So you can think of that as an opening verse. Then we've got similar notes again. So if we have a look from these last 2 measures of the second line, okay, we're basically starting the original melody again. So you could do Ted's trick, which I think was brilliant, using your index finger here for this 3, this G note, and then 5 3 on the A string. Come back to open position, 2 off, 3 1 3. Hold that, open C, 2nd fret of the A string, off, 3 1 3 on the E, low C, and 2nd fret for D. Nice. So there we've got the main 2. In fact, we've got most of the song there. Let's keep going. So we'll do these 2 open notes towards the end of the 3rd line. So open E followed by open C. Open E again. And then here where we go to this G and then the C note, the 3 and 3, you could do a double bar like this, kind of bar 2 strings with 1 finger. But I just like to use 2 like this or like this. Then we reach up to the 5th fret. And then we come back and do the same in reverse, basically. 2 off. 3 1 3. See, little figures are just getting repeated, aren't they? Same here. 2 off. 3 1. And then if I turn the page, we've got another G note 3. Low C. F and D, that's 1 here. 2 on the next string up. And the middle 2 strings in reverse. Isn't that lovely? Really beautiful timeless melody. And I mean, even if you don't turn it into a chord melody, that's a gorgeous one to play, isn't it? Another thing you could do if you don't want to play this solo, and this is one of my favourite things to do, is if you know a ukulele player that's willing to join you, you get them to do the chords whilst you do the melody. So for instance, your friend might do something like this, just strumming. And if you want to have a go, you could just strum 3 times on a measure. So whilst you're going do 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 do. Okay, and if you do that and your friend goes, what the heck is a B minor 7 flat 5? That's a B half diminished in musician's language. Don't panic, because if you take them to the next set, you've got the chords actually tabbed out to help as well, which you'll see there. All right, let's just go back to our first sheet one more time and let's see if we can play the melody along together. Now, as I always say, if you haven't got this at this moment and you're just learning it, that's absolutely fine. You can use this next bit as a bit of a reference guide when you've got it. But if you do feel confident, have a go at playing along with me from the start. Just the melody, and remember I'm just picking with my thumb here. All right, here we go. 1 2 3 5 3. 2 off. 3 1 3. Low C. 2. 3 1 3, low C, 2, 3, 1, 2, 2, 3, second line. Next phrase, up to 5 and 3 again. Next line. Two, 3, 1, 2. Middle 2 in reverse. 2, 3. 3 and 3. Now bottom line up to 5. Back to 3 and 3. 2, 3, 1. Quick flurry. Might take a bit of practice, that bit. And again. Let's go on to the next page. Let me just whiz it on. Okay, open low C. F note here. D note. And then the middle 2 in reverse. Fantastic. So that's the gorgeous melody that we've got. As I say, you can take your time on that, work for it really slowly. And notice if you have a look at the treble clef on the first page, can you see there's no sharps or flats? That's what tells you that you're in the key of C. Every key has a certain amount of sharps and flats, and C is the only major key with 0. And all of the notes fit in the key of C. Even if you can't read them, just have a look at all of the notes down here. None of them has a sharp or a flat written next to them. That means that every single one of these notes is diatonic. It fits in the key, basically, which is really cool. Let's have a look at these chords then. There are some beautiful, beautiful chords in this song. And even if you never turn this into a chord melody, these chords are so glorious. They're well worth learning. And you'll find them in a lot of jazz songs as well. So let's take a look. If you go to your third page in your sheets, you'll notice you've got the original chords written over the top. And we've got the melody there as well. But let's just have a look at the chords themselves. Now, as I say, this song is in 3/4. It's a waltz, basically. So if you're strumming these chords, you want to strum down 3 times per measure. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Like so. Later on, we'll get more than 1 chord per measure, but we'll just strum like that for now. Now, a really effective way to make your strum sound really beautiful on this is to strum the first beat of each measure with your thumb coming down, and then use your nails. You don't have to have long nails like mine, but just any nails will do, and just lightly strum the next 2 beats like this. Thumb, strum, strum, thumb, strum, strum. It's a really effective way of strumming in 3/4 time, which is really simple. So if I was to do just the opening few chords, the easier ones, I'll talk about that B minor, that B half diminished when we get there. But just the first ones, it would sound like this. 1, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, A minor, 2, 3, F, 2, 3, C, 2, 3, thumb, strum, strum, thumb, strum, strum. Give it a go with me, just those nice simple chords at the start. Okay, get your C major ready. 1, 2, 3, C, A minor, and F, back to C, another F, another C. Okay, then we've got a B half diminished. This is actually a really common chord, and this is a diatonic chord in the key of C as well. So this is the natural chord you would expect to come up for the 7th note of C. C, D, E, F, G, A, B. So B being the 7th note. And the 7th chord in any key tends to be this half diminished. And that's what we've got going on here. Now, this creates, basically, if you've ever done my jazz course or if you've read up about jazz music, this creates a mini 2-5-1. So if you think of the A minor as 1 just for a minute, the B would be 2, A, B, and then the E would be 5, A, B, C, D, E, and then the A minor 1. So it's like a little 2-5-1 there, and you get that in a lot of jazz music. If you ever get weird chords coming up, that's basically what's going on. Now, it's not as hard to do as it looks. I'll show you 2 ways of doing it. I'll show you in the proper way and then a cheat way. So the kind of proper way, it's not as bad as it looks. What you do is you hold down a D minor chord, like you're just playing a bog standard D minor. Just swivel this arm back a little bit so you can squeeze in your little finger on the 2nd fret of the A string. So think D minor with this little finger added. Isn't that lovely? It's followed by an E7, and if you're kind of savvy about it, you can take this finger away and change like that. Okay, so you can do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, like that. Now the cheat way, which is, it's not quite a full B half diminished because you're missing one of the notes, but what you can do is just play a G7 chord, but just strum the bottom 3. It's not quite as lush, but and that's because the bottom 3 notes, i.e. these strings, they're the same on each chord. Okay, but if you want to do it the full way, think D minor, finger added, and then E7. A minor, easy peasy lemon squeezy. Then we've got a C7, and the reason that C7's there is it's 5 above the F chord that follows. It kind of leads into the F chord. Then you've got your F. Then a B flat 9. This is an awkward one, B flat 9. Now you could bar this and kind of play it the way I often do, which would be barring the 1st fret, and then a finger here on the 2nd fret of the C string, and then another finger down here, like so. Okay, it's like a B7, and we've added this extra note here. This is the 9th, the one my ring finger's on. Now you might find that quite tricky to do with the bar chord, so another way of playing that chord is to play like a G shape, just like a normal G major moved up and over on the top 2 frets, and then little finger comes down here like this. Okay, that's absolutely fine as well for the B flat 9. Quite a tricky one, but really nice. Now, if you find some of these chords really hard to do, this is really, really important. Please, 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 please listen to me on this. When we do the chord melody version, because the melody often falls on the C or the E string, you're not going to have to do chords as hard as this. But I'm just showing you where the kind of notes originate from, if you like. So if you find these chords too hard, when we do the proper chord melody in a minute, way, way, way easier, I absolutely promise. And that'll be a learning thing. You'll see in a minute, it'll be quite cool. Okay, but if you wanted to have a go at that's that full chord, the B flat 9. Then an A minor. And then we've got a series of 2-5-1s again. So that F sharp, B to E is a 2-5-1, E to A to D is a 2-5-1, and A to D to G is a 2-5-1, and D to G is to C is a 2-5-1. Don't sweat the theory too much, but that's why we've got all these weird chords here. It's basically a series of 2-5-1s, okay? So what we're going to do, the F half diminished, this one does come up in a lot of songs and it can be a little bit awkward, but think of it as a D7 chord that we've added this finger to. Okay, so like that's a D7, isn't it? If we add this finger up here, 4th fret of the C string, we get this, right? That's it. Nice. Okay, like that. B flat 9, that's it. Yeah. Yes, pretty chord, isn't it, Susan? Totally agree. And then we just move this finger up here for this B7. You could play it that way as well, like an E minor that's been moved up, okay? That's the hardest bit in the whole song if you're doing the chords, this. And the timing, you do the first chord for 1 beat, 1, and then the next chord for 2, 1, 2. E minor 7 to A7 way easier. 1, 2, 3, and then D minor to G7, 1, 2, 3, and then you're back to your C chord. All right, lovely, isn't it? So it's a tricky set of chords, but if you want to have a go at it, just have a little play through. Again, if you don't want to do the chords, just play along with the melody. So you hit the notes like that. That'll be absolutely fine, and that's great practice. But if you want to play the chords, have a play along. Okay, I'll bring up the lyrics on my phone just quickly so I can sing along, so you know where we are in the song. It'll give you an idea of how it all works. Let me just bring up. I think I loaded it earlier. Here it is. Nope. Yeah, got it. Okay. All right. So get ready to come in on a C chord or that G note. Thanks, Joseph. Yeah, it's a cool sound. It's definitely a cool sound, isn't it? Thank you. Thanks, Joe. Okay, right. I'll come in on close cam as well so you can see my chords. 1, 2, 3. Moon, river, wider than a mile. I'm crossing you in style. Someday, a dream. Second line. Make up my heart, break up wherever you're going. I'm going that way. Two drifters, third line, off to see the world. There's such a lot of world to see. We're all after the same. F7, bottom note. Rainbows and my huckleberry friends just around the bend. And then we got the next line. Sorry, guys. Moon, D minor, river, and me. Okay, so those are the beautiful chords. Again, you don't need to get all those chords right now. You can practice them later, or you can just leave them as they are and just practice the melody on that part. That would be absolutely fine. Now here's the cool part. When we turn it into a chord melody, this is one of the rare exceptions where it actually gets easier rather than harder because of when a melody falls. You'll see what I mean in just a second. So let's take a look. So this is our full chord melody version. Now what I've done is I've tabbed it out here so you can follow where you are on the piece. But also I've done the chord boxes for every chord as well, so you can see how to put your fingers and where to strum to and everything basically. All right, look out for in those chord boxes. I know some of them are really small, but for instance, if I zoom right in on one, whoops, I got rid of it by accident. Okay, so if I zoom in on, where is it? Oh, I've gone to the wrong page. It's all right. Let me just flick to the chord melody version. Okay, if I zoom in on that fourth chord along, that's C. Can you see there's a little X along the top? There's a little X, isn't there, in the chord diagram? And that tells you that you're not going to strum the A string. You're only going to strum the top 3 strings physically. You'll see it as well on that B half diminished. On that chord, we're only going to strum 2 notes. And you'll see why in just a minute. I'll explain it in just a second, okay? Shell was just asking why measure 14 is an F half diminished and 27 is an A minor 6. That's a great question, Shell. It's because they're N harmonic equivalents. That's a posh way of saying it's kind of the same shape for 2 different chords. So let's have a look at that. I'll just show you quickly. So Cheryl was just saying, if you have a look at measure 14, we've got an F sharp half diminished, which looks like this, which goes to that B7. Okay. I'll put the one with the chord boxes on just so you can see what I'm doing as well. Okay. So here. And then if you have a look down on measure 27, we've got exactly the same chord shape. And it sounds exactly the same, but it's an A minor 6. Well, the thing is, you often get two chords with the same name. Think about our open strings. We can call those A minor 7, right? And we can also call them C6. And it basically depends on which way you come from. So when we play that A minor 6 on measure 27, think of it as an A minor chord that's been turned into an A minor 6. That just means it's a normal A minor, but we're also adding the 6th note in the key of A minor, which is F, isn't it? A, B, C, D, E, F. Okay. And whereas the half diminished, think of it as like an F sharp type chord, okay? It's an F sharp half diminished. If you're into your theory, that's a, don't worry if you're not, I don't want to lose everyone, but that's a first, a flatted third, a flatted fifth, and a double flatted seventh. But think of that as like an F sharp type chord and that as an A minor chord, and it happens quite a lot. The reason we differentiate them is it affects other musicians. So a soloist will tend to play, they might use an F sharp scale on that chord, whereas on that one they'll use an A minor scale. A bassist will often play an F sharp in the bass on that chord, and they'll play an A in the bass on that chord. So it's a reason we name them correctly. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it? They're called enharmonic chords. You end up with two chords with different names. Crazy, huh? Okay, so let's have a look at turning this into a chord melody. So the way this works, I've kept it really simple on this one. There are more complex ways of doing chord melody, but this works and it sounds beautiful. Basically, what we're going to do is we're going to strum whatever chord would normally be there at the moment. So in the first measure, we've got a C chord, moon. In the second one, A minor, river. But what we're going to do is, if the melody note isn't already in the chord, we're going to add it. So the melody note in the, just the melody alone was this G note, wasn't it? Remember that from the start? So what we're going to do is we're going to add this G note to a C chord, so it looks like this. And we're only going to strum the top 3 strings. And what I like to do is rest my thumb on the A string afterwards. It means that we really dig in on this string and you hear this melody note here. And it also means I don't accidentally play this. If you try and kind of take your thumb hand away, it'll sound a bit messy, but if you just keep it nice and firm, that'll sound really nice. One more technique thing, just whilst I'm on close cam. Notice that when I do that, my grip is relatively strong with this hand. I'm not kind of keeping this too loose. It's relatively firm. And notice that the movement as I play that chord largely comes from the elbow. That gives it a nice amount of force. If I was to just use my thumb, it can sound a little bit brittle and not as nice. So I drag the whole thing over. And we get a kind of C chord, but we get this melody note coming out. Okay, just like that. You could play it with 3 fingers like this and do a little roll. That would sound really nice as well. Like that. But I think I want to keep it simple tonight, so we're just going to do a thumb roll down. Okay. Then if we have a look at the next measure, we've got that A minor chord, haven't we, in it originally? Moon, river. But this time we need that high D note, this 5. Because that's a melody, isn't it? Well, what's the easiest way of playing an A minor and adding a finger here? Well, it's just like it looks there. I use my first and 4th fingers. And then I pull back to this one. Now to keep that lovely chord ringing out over the top, Try not to take this finger away after you've played the first stretchy A minor. Keep it there as you hit this note. And that smooths everything out really beautifully, doesn't it? So that makes the opening two measures sound like this. And you can hear the melody coming through, right, which is really nice. Then we go to an unusual one. We've got an F chord, but we're adding this note down here, 2nd fret of the A string. And that's because the melody note is this B note, 2nd fret. That one there. So we need to play an F chord and this B note at the same time. Easiest way, just add your ring finger down here. Take it away. I like to use my little finger for this G note here. For the F note that follows, this finger's in the right place. And then we're going to do another one of those funny C chords. I often call this a C to a G. Okay. So from the F chord, that will sound like this. Notice that whilst I'm playing that F measure, I'm keeping these fingers down. If I take them away, it sounds messy, right? But if I keep them down, it sounds really nice. Let's try those opening 3.5 measures then. Okay, all right, so there's 0, 0, 3 from the start. You can keep that finger there here, or just take it away if you want. Just try and make sure you don't strum that A string. Okay, 1, 2, 3, and then up to this one. Take this finger back and put an F chord over the top. Take this finger away. 3, 1, and then another of those 0, 0, 3s. The next bit is basically the same. We hit an open C. We do another one of those F chords with the 2 added. Resolve it to this 0, 0, 3 chord, C. And then we hit just the open C string. Now this is where things are really nice. Now on the 4 chords, this B minor 7 flat 5, it was a beast, wasn't it? It's like, a horrible chord. You've got 4 fingers and you've got to squish them all in those first few frets. It's harder enough on this tenor uke. If you're playing that on a concert or a soprano, it's even more of a squish, isn't it? Well, here's the good news, right? The melody note at this point is that D note there, 2nd fret of the C string. Well, if we're following the same process we're doing where we strum down to where the melody note is, we actually only need these 2 fingers, look. We don't need to do anything on these 2 strings. So that horrible chord can just be played as 2 fingers like this. And when we do the next chord, the same thing, we just do 1 and 2 like this. Okay. All right, so that last bit just before the B half diminished will sound like this. It's just a hint at a chord. All right, that means we can do, let's do the whole of this first line apart from those last 2 notes. I'll go really, really slowly and I'll stay on close cam. If you don't feel ready yet, just watch it and listen and soak it in. But if you want to have a go, join in with me after 3. 1, 2, 3. Stretch up. Back to the F chord with this one. C to G. Low C. Funny F chord again with the 2 added. 0, 0, 3. And then those 2 little mini chords if you like. And then we can just move that back. All right, now that's really lovely, isn't it? It works really, really well. I'll just stay on close cam whilst we do this next bit. So we've got an open E, top 2 strings of an A minor physically. Now this next one's really interesting, and I just wanted to show you this because it kind of gets you into my arranging mind, and it explains a couple of things. So the next chord is a C7 on measure 10, but we're playing it like this. And it's interesting, why am I playing it like that? 303 for a C7, which should look something like this, right? Well, this is what happens basically to kind of create this chord. So the C7, thanks guys, the C7, a normal C7 would look like this, right? And the melody note at this point is this G note. Okay, it's this G note here. So if we strum a C7 to this G note, we do kind of get the right sound. But the trouble is, what makes a C7 a C7 is this note here, isn't it? This B flat note. Because if we don't play any note on this A string, what's the difference between a C, C major 7 and a C7? You won't hear it, right? Because we're stopping there. So what I'm doing in effect, basically by playing this 303, is I'm taking this B flat note from the C7, and rather than playing it there, I'm playing it here. Same note, look. And it doesn't matter whether you're low G or high G, it still works because the melody note is this one. But that's why it doesn't really matter, because you can play it anyway. But if you're interested in the theory, that's why we end up with that funny shape for that C7, basically. Now, I like to use my middle two fingers for this one. And then we just go to this D note here. Top two strings of an F. Now, again, another nice example. That next chord looked like this, didn't it? Which again is another beast. You could do it like that or like that. But notice that we only need the notes on the top three strings because the melody note is another G here. So rather than having to do this or this, which you could do, I preferred just to do 1, 2, 3 like this. And then you can just lift this one away. See that 1, 2, 3 in reverse? Okay. So that's what we're going to do on that B flat 9. Okay. Let's try going from that E, the second to last note of this first line. Come in after 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 303, and then this 1, 2, 3. Yeah, nice. Now this next bit is the tricky bit. This is the only really crazy hard bit in this arrangement. We're gonna do this. Where do we get to? Yes, that bit there. We're gonna do this 2 for this D note, top 2 of A minor. Now, this is the rare exception in this arrangement where actually you have got 2 hard chords. But again, I'll show you a different way of playing them in a minute. But if you want to play them the full way, the reason we need to play these whole chords is because the melody notes are down here on the A string. Da, da, okay? Wherever you're going. So we need to hear the whole chord. So you can get down to that low note, that high note here on the A string. So we need to do that full F half diminished, which looks like this. Remember, think D7 with this finger added, and this full B7. And the reason we need the full barred version is we need this note, whereas an unbarred has an A down the bottom, but we need this B. Okay, so we're basically, if you watch my fingers really slowly in slow motion, going to do this one, and then that one goes up and my ring finger comes off. Okay, it's the hardest bit in the song. That might take a wee bit of practice, okay, but that's what we've got for those 2 bars. Remember, when barring, try and get that finger as close to the metal fret as possible. So if you have it back here, look, you'll get these chucky sounds. It won't sound complete, whereas right up against the fret, you don't have to press quite so hard. Try and keep a little bit of finger over the top, so you're using the strongest part of your finger, which is the lowest part of your finger there. So you don't want it like that. You want it up straight like that. And try and keep this wrist as straight as possible because it will really help you. Some people develop kind of pain in the wrist when they play in ukulele, and it's because a lot of the time they're playing chords like this, which is obviously it's just not a good position for your arm to be in. So try and keep that wrist as straight as possible. That's why I'm always nagging about having this 45-degree angle rather than playing it like this. Okay, like that. Okay, so we've got this. Da, da. Now, if you absolutely struggle with that and you think, just there's physically no way I can get those chords, what you can do is just play the notes on the bottom strings. So what you could do for the F half diminished is this. Second finger on 3, first finger on 2 of the E string, third finger up here for this E note, 4th fret of the C string. So you could just do that and just not worry about the note on that top string. Just strum the bottom 3. And then when you go to the B7, you could just do this shape, like a G minor 7. So that will look something like this. Okay. So just in case you're really struggling, there's not a great amount of difference, especially in high G. Have a listen. Versus... Whoops, help if I put my fingers in the right place. Versus. Okay, there's not a lot of difference between the two, particularly if I hit the right notes. Okay, so that's the hardest bit. Okay, then after that, it gets a little bit easier again. So we're going halfway across the second line after we've just done those 2 tricky chords. Then it gets a little bit easier because we've got an open A note, that's just your 0. Then E minor 7, it looks like an E7 without this finger. You can pull back to this A7. We've got a random, not random, but a G note here at the 3rd fret. And then D minor 7 and G7. Okay. I like to kind of slow down there. I haven't written a ritandando or anything, but I like to... Imagine you've put the brakes on there. It kind of just makes it linger and sound really, really glorious. Let's do this. You could do this, guys. Let's do the whole top 2 lines. You might think, hang on, we've been going ages and we've only done 2 lines, but repetition, repetition. The next bit's using pretty much the same techniques and the same chords and notes. So let's try this from the top then. Remember, if you're not there yet, just have a listen and a watch and just pick up as many tips as you can. And try this when you're ready. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Stretchy A minor. Move this finger here and add an F. 0, 0, 3. Same F chord again. 3, 0, 0, 3. Just top 2 strings now and move this finger over. Last chord of the first line, 3, 0, 3, top 2 of an F, and then your 1, 2, 3 chord, top 2 of an A minor, hardest bit of all. Open A, E minor 7, A7, D minor, G7. Yeah, really nice, really nice. Now I'm just going to pause there, partly because I need to tune up. I put on a new G string. Who misses? I'm playing a festival at the weekend, Shriekfest, which I'm really looking forward to. I'm doing all Beatles numbers, some chord melody and some strung, and I can have a little psychedelic choir as well, which I'm really excited about, for Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds and A Day in the Life. And I had a low G on here, but I decided I wanted a high G for the weekend, and I'm using this U because it's got a pickup in it. So I've changed it over, but the only trouble is because the other three strings have settled in and this one hasn't, this G string keeps going out of tune. So hopefully by the weekend it will have settled down. But if anyone's around for Shriekfest, it's up near Shrewsbury. It's just south of Shrewsbury. And I think they've still got the last few tickets available. And some brilliant artists. Willgrave White's playing, Phil Dolman, Mac Williams, brilliant artists. Loads and loads of them, too many to mention. I'm playing Saturday, sort of early afternoon. I think it's 1:30 in the main bit. So let me know if any of you are coming in the comments. It'd be nice to know. Let's carry on then. We're doing so well, guys. Now you've basically done most of the song because, as I say, there's a lot of repetition from here. So let's have a look. What we're going to do is we're going to start with the last measure of the second line. That's just another one of those, what I often call a C to a G, 0, 0, 3. This next bit should sound familiar because we've got a stretchy A minor chord. It's exactly the same as the start, right? Take that finger back, put this funny F down, C to a G, low C, another one of those F chords with the 2 added, 0, 0, 3, and then the same chords we had before, just this 2 and 2, and 1 and 2. Like so. Fantastic. So a lot of repetition so far. Yeah, Ted, absolutely. Just play the bottom 3 strings for that F sharp diminished. That is absolutely fine. And you can use that 3-finger version as well. Sorry, guys. You don't have to use the barred version. So for that F sharp minor 7, so it will look like this, Ted. So kind of think about those fingers being as they were, but instead of barring the whole thing, just put that finger there. And you can also do the same thing. Okay. All right. So think of those 2 in first, then that one for that change. Or if you're doing the full version. There's really not a big difference in sound, is there? So why not keep it simple, I think, as they say. All right, so that took us to these last few notes here, third line down, and we've just done the B half diminished to the E7. Now, next bit is just like the outro, if you like, and it's actually relatively simple. We've got one awkward chord again, which I'll show you in a minute. But we're going to start from the 4th note to last down here after the E7. We've got this open E. We play an A minor chord, but just the top 2 strings, and then the top 3 strings. Okay, that's really nice because it illustrates how this chord melody works, because the melody notes go. Okay, and notice that the first A minor, we just play the top 2 strings. That's because we want to hear this note in our ears. Whereas the next one we play a top 3 strings because the melody note is this one. So G note. Then we've got that A minor 6. Remember Shell's question earlier? It's the same as a half diminished. Okay. And again, you can play this version. Okay. Just think like an F chord down the bottom. You're adding this note. Like so. Then the next chord, F7 on measure 28, there's 2 ways you can do this. You can do what I would normally call a normal F7, which looks back like this. And then if you can, if your fingers stretchy enough, move up to the 5th fret like this. Okay, gives the tension of an F7 chord, but with this lovely high D note over the top. If you find that really hard, you can actually, and you can write this on your sheets if you want, it's not quite 100% accurate, the right chord, but it works. You can just bar the whole of the 5th fret, which gives it more of an F6 feel. Okay, so you can either do this one, or you can do this one. Either will be fine, all right? gives you the same melody note, right? Okay, so that's the measure 28 one. So if you're doing it this way, it would be like that. Notice as I come out of this A minor 6 chord, I get a normal F7 down first, and then momentarily later put this little finger down. All right, so da, da. Then we can relax for a bit because we've got much easier chords. This C note, C to a G. Next one's interesting because the melody note, the chord is an F, isn't it? Da 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 da. But the melody note is this G. So what we do is quite interesting. We take an F chord and we add this G note to it, the 3rd fret of the E string. Now you could, of course, because this finger's not doing anything, it's on the same string as this one, you could just play that like this, or I like to do it like this. And then you can like that. Okay, so that's 203. Again, try and keep this finger where it is as you play these next few notes. And then can resolve it's that C to a G. And then we do exactly the same thing again. Now this time, notice on this measure here that it's only a quick chord. See how it happens really quickly. Okay, so we do this 203. Let me move here so you can see. Open C. Whoops. Like that. That takes you into the outro basically, because we've got another C to G. Top 2 of an A minor. Then we've got a D minor, just the top 3. That D note is already there in your D minor. G7. Open A. Top 2 strings. And then you could just leave it there, but I just like to lightly brush a C chord to finish. All right. Now, I just wanted ever so quickly just to talk about this last measure. Now, almost all of the chords in this song have a melody note. That just means when you play a chord, there's a melody note kind of hidden within it. I'll show you what I mean. Moon, river. Sorry, I'll do that again. Moon, river, wider than a mile. So notice each one of those chords has a melody note hidden within it. Well, occasionally you get a rare exception like this G7 here, and that's just there to add accompaniment, like a chordal flavour to it. I'll show you what I mean. If I do that last bit. Moon, river, and me. That G7, there's no melody note. Moon, river. It starts again at the E that follows, and me. So what we do is we play that G7 really lightly. I like to use my nails, just strum down really lightly. I'll show you what I mean. And then we've got. Then the G7 is really delightful because it's kind of adds a little something. You still keep that 2-5-1 progression going, but it doesn't interfere with the melody. So rather than this, that's really exaggerating that. If you keep it light, it's like a real tease. And I do the same thing on the C that finishes, which is really beautiful. And that's just a way of making it sound almost like a little bit more 3D, a little bit more interesting, which is really nice. There's one more of those if you're really pedantic, and it's the I think it's the F chord on measure 29, I think. Let me just check. I'm just going to move this up a bit so I can see it better. Just going to check something. Yeah, it's both of these F chords on the bottom line. They don't have a melody note in them. So again, you could strum those with your nails, keep it really light as well. It sounds like this from measure 27, bottom line. Just keeps it nice and light. I think there may be a melody note on that first one actually. I think this first one, strum it quite. Yeah, because that's I'm waiting round the bend. But this next one just my huckleberry friend. And then the next bit nice and light on the G7. Moon River and me. Isn't that lovely? Really nice. Yeah, fantastic. Susan's just saying it's nice to hit a D and then E note at the end. Don't know which chords to use. Let me try that. Oh, that's lovely, Susan. Yeah, so Susan's suggesting just to finish it off. I do this sometimes where I take a chord up the fretboard. So that would sound like this. Let me come in close camera. If I do the bottom line again. Okay. It's just like a nice little motif at the end. Could even take it up there. Well, the good news is, Susan and everyone else, if you want to do that and add some more notes, the brilliant thing is when we play a C chord, this is a great bit of little music theory. When we play a C chord, the notes that make up a C major chord are C, E and G. Okay, and we tend to play another note here for this high C. It's the same as this low C. They're an octave apart, right? So as long as we play C, E and G, we can play a C chord anyway. We can play it here. We could play it here because we've got a high E here. We can even play it here because we've got this high G. We can play it up here where we've got the high C. So basically, as long as you're repeating either a C, an E, or a G, or a high C, any of those C chords will work at the end, which is really, really nice. So Susan, for that last bit, the chord that you would strum is just a C chord, but because of that trick, you could strum it anywhere. So you could do, let me just do the bit before. Could do any of those at the end. It's really cool, isn't it? I quite often do that to finish off a song that's in the key of C. You might have heard of a brilliant Hawaiian player called Leg Katapana. He does all this kind of Hawaiian slap key stuff. And I've noticed that when he plays it on guitar, he'll often go up to that 15th fret. Like that to finish off a song. So any song that's in the key of C, just head up to that 15th fret and it sounds really great. Or in this case, you just You have to watch your intonation a bit, because even on this beautiful ukulele, it goes a little bit off when you go up that high. So sometimes they massage it, give it a little bit of vibrato, and it covers it a little bit. But there we go. Fantastic. And Shell's just asking, are the E7 also filler chords? Are measure 8 and 24? Let me check. Quite possibly. Yeah, they are. Yeah. And in actual fact, if you look at the first sheet rather than the fourth one, you can see there's physically, if you look below, there's no melody note on that one. Technically, I guess you could say the D's being carried over from the measure before, but really it's an empty one. So yeah, absolutely. Those E7s, you could hit those a little bit lighter as well. So that would sound like this. If I just play that bit, Shell. If I play, I'd just play a first line, so it goes. And you could just keep that really light. Isn't that lovely? I love a tease like that, where you just hear it. It's really beautiful. If you're playing it live, it's really nice to do as well, because a lot of people think when you play live, you have to like fill the spaces with like loads of noise and stuff. But when you do those little, sometimes you'll find the audience like will listen in. Sometimes they'll actually physically lean in, and that's really lovely. It's like a really nice tease. So yeah, absolutely, that's nice to do. Karen's thrown in a couple of pull-offs here, bar 30 for example. Nice, let's check that out. 27, 28, 29, 30. Ah, I reckon, Karen, are you doing a pull-off on the B to the A, the 2 to the 0? So a pull-off, guys, is where you hit the one note and you don't actually pick the next one, but you use this finger to pull down. So Karen's probably going, which is really nice. So yeah, nice one, Karen. I love all these little bits that everyone's trying. Yeah, that's it, Ted. Stick with it because it's such a beautiful song. This is one of my all-time favourite chord melodies. And this was one of the first ever arrangements I did on my own. I got the original melody from, I think for this one I actually stole it rather than working it out, which was a bit naughty. But I took the Jim Beloff's 365 book and I just worked out the melody note by note, and then I started piecing it together with the chords. So this was kind of like one of my first ever chord melody arrangements, and yeah, I love it. So yeah, well done, Karen. Fantastic. Okay, what I'm going to do then to finish off, I'm going to stick around for questions at the end. So if you've got any questions whatsoever, let me know at the end. But let's just play through the whole thing really, really slowly from the start. Now this is really nice because this works on a few levels. If you don't feel confident enough, what you could do is just strum the chords in the background as we play, or you could just do the melody from the first sheet, which would also be really good practice because it gives you the timing. Or if you feel really, really confident, you put the whole lot together and do the chord melody version. I'll take it really nice and slowly. Remember, you can download this. All members from my website get this for free. So just head over to mattsteadukulele.com and check out the live lessons if you want it. Just before we play this as well, just want to say a big thank you to everyone that's joined me tonight. It's been a real pleasure to have so many of you with me. And do ask questions. I will stick around at the end for any questions or comments. But if you've enjoyed this and you're not one of my members, head over to mattsteadukulele.com where you'll find hundreds of scores like these. And I've got a whole fingerstyle course where you can learn to play this way as well. So all sorts of stuff on there. I think that was it. Yeah. Okay, right. Let's have a go. Let's come in on close cam. We'll try the whole thing from the top. Really nice and slow. Come in after 3. 1, 2, 3. just going to turn the page, folks. Okay. A minor, D minor, light G7, C chord, and if you want, right up to 15. Yeah, well done, everyone. Isn't that gorgeous? A really nice chord melody there, which is really fantastic. Ted's, oh yeah, Susan's just saying, Ted, sometimes something you've learned earlier just clicks whilst you're working on something else. This process is interesting. Yeah, I totally agree. I often call that kind of cyclical learning, you know, where you kind of go round and round. And every time you play something or you revisit a technique, you've just got a little bit more confidence, and sometimes you can do it a little bit better. And like Susan says, sometimes something just clicks. You might have been trying it a while, and then eventually it's like, got it. So that works really, really well. So yeah, stick with it. Thanks, Joe. Thank you. Cool. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. Let me know if you've got any questions at all with any of that, and I'll be here to help you. So yeah, but just enjoy it. If anyone really enjoyed that and you want to tell other people about it, if you go to the link in the description, my link in bio, there's a little thing there where you can share with other people. So if you want to share the love and recommend this to other people, just click the share down the bottom there. And what else was I going to tell you about this one? Oh, I can't quite remember, but anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Hopefully I'll see a few of you at Shriekfest this weekend, which is going to be really exciting. Loads of Beatles numbers, which should be nice. I've been practicing my psychedelic Beatles, which would be really, really nice. We do have more Beatles numbers coming in the course. I'm actually going to do one of the ones that I play live, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. I'm going to teach you how to play that in one of the lessons on the Beatles course. I think there's 15 lessons so far on the Beatles course, and I am adding more all the time. I try to do everyone. I try to do kind of one a week, but I haven't quite kept up with that. But there's one every 2 or 3 weeks at the moment, so keep an eye out for those, and there'll be more coming along, which is great. Fran, it's one of the first songs you learnt on organ. I love it. My favourite song I learnt on piano, the first song I ever learnt on piano when I was a kid, and I could only play the notes, not really the harmony, was Chasing Johnny, was I'm Walking in the Air, the song from The Snowman. Da, 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 dee, dee. Oh, thanks, Joseph. That's lovely to know. You know what, Joseph? I actually started playing uke seriously when I started playing it on my lunch hours at work, and I loved it so much. I used to practice through my lunch hours, and sometimes those lunch hours would go a little bit too long, but that's how I started. Oh, thanks, Karen. Thank you. Yeah, so next live lesson week on Wednesday, we've got our Overcoming Nerves and Performing. So if you've got any open mics coming up, or even if you're just recording yourself for a video that you might be posting on Facebook, come and join in with this one. If you've got any questions you'd like to ask, if you can send them through in advance, that would be really helpful. Obviously I'll answer the live ones on the day as well, but if you email matt@mattsteadukulele.com, that's really helpful. I can get things prepared in advance. Another thing to tell you about is we've got our annual Forest Ukulele Retreat coming up at the end of August. It's 29th to the 31st of August. And it's very rarely this happens, so jump on it if you can. We've had a few tickets where people haven't been able to make it for whatever reason this year. So if you're really interested in coming to the retreat and you missed out, get in touch. Or check out the website. I think there are actually some physical tickets up there that you can actually buy at the moment. If you go to mattsteadukulele.com, click on events, and then you'll find the Forest Ukulele Retreat there. I know that have at least 2 tickets, and there is accommodation available. If you get in touch or ring Speech House, you can book a room because there are a couple of returns. So if you felt like you missed out, come and join in. It's going to be amazing. Karen's going to be there, which is exciting. And we've got like some just incredible teachers. We've got Peter Luongo, who actually taught James Hill how to play. I mean, that's enough, isn't it, already? But teaches the amazing Langley Ukulele Ensemble, very, very famous from Canada. We've got Jeff Peterson coming, who's a Grammy Award-winning musician from Hawaii. We've got the wonderful Victoria Vox teaching. Some of you might have met her and seen her at other festivals. We had her at the Christmas retreat. And we've also got our wonderful resident tutor, Sam Muir, who'll be teaching you some beautiful classical fingerstyle ukulele. So if you're interested, we've got all that and more happening at the end of August, 29th to the 31st of August. Plus we've got ukulele meditation, walks in the forest with me, where I take you around and I show you lots of butterflies and stuff like that. So yeah. Oh, thanks, Karen. Maybe I should do a ukulele arrangement of that. That'd be quite sweet, wouldn't it? That'd be quite nice. Do, 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 do. Love it. Oh, nice. Thanks, Rose. That's nice to hear. Her favourite song is Walking in the Air. That's really wonderful, isn't it? We watch it every Christmas, even though my kids are getting a little bit too big for it now. They're 10 and 12. Had to think there for a second. I still make them watch The Snowman every year because I just think it's so beautiful, isn't it? Such a great song. Oh, Rose met James Hill yesterday in Queensland. If you see him again, Rose, give him a hug from me. You can say hi from Matt in the UK. It'd be really nice to pass that on. We had him at our retreat and our festival last year, which was just amazing, which is fantastic. Oh, there's also tickets available for next year's Ukulele Festival of Great Britain, and we've got tickets available for the Christmas retreat as well. So lots going on, which is really exciting. I wonder... There we go. I just worked it out. No, there it is. Anyway, what am I doing? I'm just noodling away trying to work it out. I'll try and work out an arrangement for that. I'll tell you what, let's make that my Christmas lesson. I've been doing Silent Night the last few years, so I reckon let's do something new. I'll work on Snowman for Christmas. How about that, guys? I'll do a fingerstyle chord melody arrangement. I think that'd be fun, wouldn't it? Right, I think that's everything. Don't forget, next Monday we're back to Kanakapila, and I'm really excited. We've got some great songs from some brilliant women of pop next Monday. That's where I teach you to play by ear without sheet music. That's strumming and chords, but some really interesting stuff on there. And then we'll be back in 2 weeks' time for the next Melodic Mondays. We're going to look at Freight Train for this one. Freight train going so fast. And I'm going to show you 3 different ways of playing it, which should be loads of fun. All right then, guys. Well, I shall love you and leave you. Have a fantastic week. Maybe I'll see some of you in Shrewsbury this weekend. If you are there, come and say hi. I really love meeting you guys. Same goes for the retreat and everything. Come and say hi and let me know you're there. And yeah. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Take care, everyone. Much love. Bye.